In the difficult phase is the most important phase. That is where your faith will be birthed. That's where you will begin to grow a stronger bond. Like me, there is a bond we have with my husband that I'm sure no man can break. You know why? Because we've had phases where we had to go through a season of building that bond. And those seasons, sometimes, most of them are not desirable. You see? But you have to reach a point whereby you know marriage is bigger than both of you.
Wow.
Marriage is bigger than your weaknesses. Marriage is bigger than even your self-ambitions. You have to stop your ambition and say, wait a minute, darling, this is marriage we're handling here. You could be having a challenge, I could be having a challenge. How do we move forward?
Oh, yes.
And that thing can only come from a point of wholeness. Thank you for tuning in again for the Naked and Not Ashamed show. If you're new on the show, this is a show that inspires family positively through different topics. We are just happy that you are tuning in, and we welcome you to today's topic, which is different seasons of marriage. Ma'am,
this is a very hot topic, and I believe that every one of us will pick something that can relate with the stage that you are in. And if you have surpassed that stage, then we thank God for you. But I want to say that marriage has no script. There is no book. There is no manual. You need a lot of knowledge, a lot of mentorship, a lot of being intentional to gather knowledge so that you can be able to have the kind of marriage that God intended. But the Word of God gives us a framework of what we're supposed to do, and I believe that today we are going to talk about the seasons in marriage, and by the end of this show your life will be edified, your marriage will also have changed, so that you don't judge yourself so harshly depending with the stage that you are in, that you should know that better things are ahead. And so I'm so happy for this topic, and I believe that we are going to learn a lot. Yes, my heart is open.
Just like how life is, we have seasons of ups and downs, dry seasons and wet seasons. And I know even our marriages go through them. So we want to know which stage is your marriage and which season are you going to. And most of us, we are defined by these seasons, which should not be the issue.
Exactly.
Because a season just comes and goes. No season is always permanent. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and the word of God also says very clearly that as long as the heavens and the earth remain, there will be seed time and harvest time. And I believe also in marriage, it is the same way. It's important to be able to understand where am I in my family, which season are we operating in, so that we don't behave like people who are in 20 and we are in 5th floor already, and we should have adjusted to 5th floor. And you see hapo najaribu ukibizana na watu wa 19, 20, 22 wako na mioto.
Na wako na injini imezeeka.
Yeah, it's important to understand where you are so that you're able to handle your partner in the best way possible. You are able to prepare them so that they are able to enjoy the whole journey. And by the end of the day, both of you enjoy. But it's so unfortunate because you realize that I don't know why men don't think that one day, they'll get old. They behave as if, they are always energetic and all that. It's important to understand that life comes, things change. And when things change, it's important to know how do you amp your game? How do you move to the next level? So that by the end of the day, you don't start blaming your partner. Ni wewe. Ama ni mimi. Instead of blame game, why can't you look for solution? Why can't you look for what can benefit both of you? So I think it's important to understand that marriages have got seasons.
Just like as Dad is saying, marriage has seasons. If you look at your partner, how you began with them, they have gone through a lot of so many stages of growth, painful growth, good growth. They have become better people if they are proactive. Right, Mom?
Yes.
Yeah, and that tells us that marriage as you prolong, as you continue to grow together, there is also a shift of mindset. Because you find why most of us get it hard to adjust to different seasons and understand timing and seasons is because we are still we are stuck in the previous mindset.
Oh yes.
In the growth mindset, you had a different mental frame. The woman who was married 24 years and the woman you are seeing now is a totally different woman. That means there have been a lot of growth, a lot of adjustment and support from my partner as well. So Mom, as you bring up the phases,
yes,
we need to see also the aspects of mental paradigms, the growth phases,
yes,
mental changes. Yeah.
Wow, that's very important, because one of the stages that is very paramount is the dream stage.
Yeah.
In this stage, it is before marriage,
yeah,
whereby there's a lot of fakeness, Salano. You go for a date with someone and you want to behave Angel Agnes, you want to behave Angel Gabriel, yeah, you know, you want to put your foot forward, you know, to just look a very good, a wife material and a husband material. And you find there are people who are able to fake it, both of you, until you get into marriage. So when you are in marriage, you still want the same picture you saw when you are dating and when you are courting, and this person was not so. They were actually pretending for that time when they met you. And now that mumeingizana kwa box, now everybody begins now to manifest their true colors. And I think that's where now conflict, commotion comes in. Because I expected that little timid girl to continue without answering me, and now she's here questioning me over things that have never been questioned even by your mother or your father. And so dream stage has had so many people getting, you know, dilemmas and getting confused, and it makes people live a life that is not real. But I came to tell us that if for you are going to enjoy your marriage, you have to delete the dream husband and the dream wife, and deal now with reality. You get that, because if you keep dreaming, it is no longer a dream. It is now a reality. You're in the same house. You have now begun the life of marriage. And so we need to delete that and deal with the reality. The reality is my wife suffers with anger. My husband also has anger. This man has friends that he cannot stop on. He cannot even be able to do away with them. He must go see. You know, there are those realities. My husband does not shower. He doesn't like showering. Now you have to cope up with that. You know, this person has all these negatives and this positive. So I think the best way for us to be able to move on in marriage is to make sure that we don't live in the dream. And so many people have lived in the dream, as Pastor Munene has said, you know, having that mind of a dream husband and a dream wife. So you find there is always a conflict in your mind, because the dream wife and the real wife are not the same. The dream husband and the real wife is not the same. So that conflict can continue for a very long time. And we begin to tell each other that you are not meant for me. I think you are not meant. We are not compatible. But it's because there is something that needs to happen immediately after we marry. Dreams must cease.
Be deleted.
Be deleted. Let's deal now with reality. Yes.
The feeling of love ends.
The feeling of love ends completely.
So you have to deal with the reality. Emotions of love ends.
Yes.
So you will have to like and learn to live with the person you are married to, understand them, and grow into a new love now.
Wow, I love that. That's a very strong point, viewers, because the feeling of love, the reason why you felt so much attracted to each other, that feeling was supposed to bring you together to be a husband and a wife. Immediately you marry, that feeling just disappears in the air. So what makes marriage now work from there is commitment, not feelings. Yes. Marriage can never be a feeling, because there are times you feel sad, there are times you feel happy, you know, there are times you feel this. So you can't base your marriage again on feelings. You have now to base it on the truth and commitment to each other. That I'm married to you despite all your weakness and your strength. I'm going to stay with you, because we say it for good, for worse, for richer, for poorer, you know, in sickness, out of sickness. So now the vows begin to
you live the vows.
The vows. You live the vows. And you allow the vows now to lead you, but the feeling of love completely dies. Dies completely, and you can't live on that feeling all throughout. Yes.
I also want to think that you find that during this dream stage, some dream stage always truth comes during the wedding night.
Yes.
Because or the morning after the wedding, because you see, you've always seen this lady in makeups.
Yeah.
She's always looking like a doll, very cute. And then after wedding night, ameenda kuoga, you're like,
Ametoa makeup.
ametoa wig kwanza, akatoa makeup. Now you're like, a fellow man or who? Akatoa meno. Akatoa makali. So yeah, so it is so fake. And then you find that you find this during the wedding, and you ask the guy, why do you love this lady? Wow, this girl is so humble. She's so God-fearing. This is a face that was just being displayed for you to get her. To market value, yeah. So this is just a stage.
I love that, market value.
Market value. You know? To improve, to increase her market value.
Yeah.
So she will never show any signs of disrespect to you. Hamtakosana hata kidogo. You go out, she doesn't want to finish one mandazi because you will think she's a glutton. She just takes half a small soda. I mean, sikulangi sana. You are like, wow, this is a very economical wife. Hata sitakuwa expend sana. And then maybe you are like, even the guy, you find the guy mko kwa date, you accidentally knock the table and the food goes down. Inaumwa like anasema, don't worry, I'll pay for another one. Wait a letter ingine. So anaumia lakini hawezi tonje because he's still in the face of dream. He wants to be that dream man. And then you are like, during the wedding, you're like, hey, my Salano doesn't even shout. Even if I make a mistake, he's always so calm. Wewe! Ngoja, there's a...
2 months down the line, you're going back to your mom.
Yeah, so it's just a face. As mom is saying, we should stop dreaming from that.
Yes.
Because after wedding night, now the real thing are going to start coming up. It will, yeah, sometimes maybe even go a few months in after wedding, in marriage. When I have best honeymoon, best marriage so far, best husband, sweet, and mutasema tu, but after sometimes, you know, okay. Uja walonga naimba preservation kuma nazanipiga coffee pia. Real colors begin coming in. You said you are a pastor and you are shouting at me.
You know,
utajua ujui.
You see, my friend, there's something I'm closer trying to observe in couples. When I married Sue, there is what attracted me to her. You know, I saw a very social girl, a very outgoing person. You know, I looked and I said, wow, that is the kind of a woman I would wish to marry and to have. And then for her, when she saw me, she saw a very polite guy, a very quiet gentleman, someone who loves listening and following things the way they are happening. But then when we come in marriage, remember, I married her because she was very outgoing. She was very social. She becomes social with everybody.
What was a strength now becomes a weakness in marriage.
You get it? Now when we go out for meetings, she's talking for 3 hours.
With other people.
And I want we go home. You get it?
Yes.
When we finish a meeting, she doesn't want to go home. She still wants to take another 2 more hours.
With people.
With the people.
Because she's a social being.
Because she's a social being. And then I wonder, where does this woman come from? Does she know time is going?
Yes.
Does she understand?
We have another commitment.
I have another commitment. Remember, I married her because I loved the way she was outgoing, the way she was social. Now, the reason why I married her now becomes
a pain.
A pain in my marriage.
Oh yes.
It becomes now the stumbling block. And if you look at many people, what they saw and what they loved today has become the bone of contention.
The thorn in the flesh.
The thorn in the flesh.
The thorn in the
flesh.
In the flesh.
Yes.
She married me because I was a gentleman. I was not very talkative. I knew how to carry myself. And then when we come in marriage, I continue to keep quiet.
And she wants someone to talk to.
And she wants someone she can talk to. And she gets, you know, offended by that. And that's what you're talking about, you know, the dream, what you had, the dream wife, the dream husband. Now you must learn now to direct that and learn to live with the reality. This is who Monene is. This is who Sue is. The rate what I thought and what I had seen, and now riff with the reality.
Then maybe just as we continue with that, in the spirit of understanding the person, now reality, realization stage.
Yes.
This is where you realize that I've really looked back, been self-reflecting from the time since we began with my lovely husband here. Now, you will realize as a couple, those very, very tough issues that you guys fought over were the very issues you needed to grow to the next stage.
Oh yes.
Have you ever realized that,
Yes,
when you argue over an issue, you argue as long as both of you are ready to find a solution. These are the issues you actually needed to argue over them or even fight over them.
Yes.
So, but what we do nowadays, we run away. Say, wacha kae na hizo maneno, but you should sit down and fight.
Yes.
Fight until you come to understanding. Fighting doesn't have to be physical. It means you bringing your point, he's bringing your point, and you find a common ground. This is his personality. I hate his personality. But also, he can't do anything about the personality.
Yes.
So there must be a balance.
Wow.
And you know that is also the stage whereby you keep on comparing your partner, your love with other people.
Yes.
When you don't do away with the dream,
Oh yes.
partner.
When you don't delete.
When you don't delete.
So can we say that if you find that you are still being compared with 20 years in marriage, it means the partner is still in dream stage?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can live in dream stage all the days of your life. It's important. Any stage that we are going to talk about, you can actually get stuck in it because you don't know what to do. And that comes when now you have not invested yourself in knowledge. Exposure is also very important. And also the way Beryl is saying, realizing that what I saw is not what my partner is. How can I adjust to accommodate them in my life now that they are this? You accept the new reality. Yeah, you stop now having the dream marriage, the dream husband, the dream wife. And I think that's where the problem comes in, because you can live in that. And that's why you find, as you are saying, there's a lot of comparison. You're not like this, you're not like so and so. You're not like, because you are still, you still have the mindset of who your wife should be and your husband should be, and they are not becoming. And so it frustrates you as a person so much. So I think what Pastor Monene has given us is the antidote about the dream stage. Many things that you wished, you will make the bed, will be very clean, will cook for you breakfast and bring it in the bedroom. Those are not reality.
Are not happening.
You get, are not happening. You know, we'll wake up, meet me at the gate, hug me
with a flower.
With a flower hidden. You get the point.
And even he forgets your birthday sometimes.
Sometimes they forget the anniversary. So now you have to deal with the reality, because there's not that perfect ideal wife and husband. Every one of us, you know, have some weaknesses, and you can't know someone until you stay with them under the same roof. You know, 365 days. That's when you're able to know, it is not what I thought. And I think that's where now the hearts of men, the hearts of women who are married begins to coil. You feel frustrated. You feel like you made the wrong choice. You feel like you are cheated. You begin to remember the other boyfriends. You begin to remember your classmate who was eyeing on you. There's someone. All these things begin now to come, and you want, I wish I married Irene. I wish I married Eunice. I wish I was married by Watch. I think I was married by Walter. At the same time, these people also have their own weaknesses. So,
and then you see, as you look at the Irene you are eyeing and her husband, you see that they're doing well. But you don't know what is in that marriage. Then you say, I would have been down in that space, in that place. But now this guy is frustrating me. That side always looks better than what you are having. And I also tend to think that what is affecting our marriages mostly, it's because we have failed to differentiate between marriage being a process and wedding being an event. So you find that most of our energy, we focus on the dream wedding, on the day. And I always say this, you'll find that before you go to a wedding, you have a team of people who will help you. People will say, mimi nitakupatia gari, mimi nitakufanyia deco for free, mimi niko na catering team nitakupunguzia bei, nitakuletea keki. So people are there to support you. And then all your energy, 99% of your time is focused on the wedding.
On the wedding day.
And then When that wedding comes, you only discuss only a one-day event, and then it goes away. Then you come to reality. You never thought about your marriage.
Everybody else disappears.
Everybody disappears. Now you are in marriage. There's no one who is there to offer you free counseling service. There's no one who is there to offer you free money in your marriage.
Yes.
You are now the two of you. All those people who are giving you free cars, they are no longer there. So Nagundua, now I'm here alone, and now the reality downs on you.
In fact, there are so many marriages that are really struggling because they have never known that this is not a stage to stay. It is a stage to get into the marriage, get the reality, note it down, and then immediately delete, completely erase. Blot it out. I don't know which other word we can use. Replace.
Shift, delete.
Shift and delete. You know, which other word very
You erase, you delete,
yes.
you do away with.
You blot out, you forget.
Yes.
You have to do all those things so that now you deal with the real person and accept now this person with their strength and their weakness. And now you don't measure so much on the weakness, you measure on their strength, and vice versa also. The other spouse also must measure with the strength of your partner and don't measure with your weakness, because when you start measuring with your weakness, you begin now to compare them with someone else, and they can never be anybody else. So that dream stage, many people are in it. It has caused a lot of pain. It has caused a lot of frustration in marriage, and someone still think there is a better wife more than my wife than my husband, but that thing is not true. It's just in your mind, but in reality, even if you married you will still find
even if it was the other person,
even if it was the other person
you married.
Yes. It's only that now we have learned to cope. There are people who would admire me right now, Pastor Munene, but they don't know the cost you paid.
That's my mother,
The cost you paid to teach
To
me the
make
word,
you be.
to remove anger, to teach me how to speak,
Mannerisms.
mannerisms.
Yeah.
You get that, of a pastor's wife. But now, right now, everybody would want to be associated with Pastor Sue, but they don't know the work that this man did behind the scene.
Yeah.
And he never even exposed me to his relatives, his friends. He would go gather knowledge, come back and try to see whether it will work. If it doesn't work, he goes and think for another invention, until I was able to align my life now with him. And so dream stage is a stage that so many has brought a lot of confusion.
So also in the dream stage, one thing I can highlight that I realized, you will come to, it is also a discovery stage. Is the stage where you begin to self-realize. Yani you begin to self-discovery, and also the more you discover yourself, the more you discover your partner. The more you discover your identity and your wholeness, you become whole, you begin to discover your partner's weaknesses and challenges.
Oh yes.
And the only thing that can help us is when you allow the person, there is something you once said, allow them to be. If marriage is operating from a point of authenticity, where your partner doesn't have to hide from you because they are struggling, where your partner doesn't have to package themselves to look in a certain way, they will be vulnerable enough and you'll be able to grow out of the space.
Very true.
So one of the most powerful forces after love, authenticity. When you are, what you're saying, what you are feeling, and what you are doing correlates, where they align, and then it corresponds. Your partner will mirror your life.
Yes.
Because if you are a person who is rigid, stuck from a place, you will keep demanding from your partner.
Very true.
I never bargained for this, but you need to fill your cup. Your partner, because energies, everything is energy.
Oh yes.
The moment you raise your energy, your partner definitely will raise his.
Very true.
That's why I always say, if I discover a weakness in my place or space, I say maybe there is something not working with me.
Yes.
Maybe I raise mine before I go to confront the issue.
Yes.
So that discovery stage, you will discover a lot of weaknesses, a lot of discouragements, but that's the time for you to grow, not to run.
I also think that there's a book that I was reading sometimes, and they were saying that most of the time we always focus on them.
Weakness.
When we are quarreling, I begin with you.
Yes.
But sometimes you should start with I.
Yes.
So I was thinking, can we do it this way?
Or I think I was wrong.
Yes, I think I was I. But ukianzanga ati wewe tu kila saa you when you all talk about you is always the good part. Me I always try. But you, so that in this marriage there's this person who's always the bad guy.
Yes.
And you're always the good
villain.
guy. And even the other guy is always saying so as the good guy, and you're always the bad guy. Until we begin focusing on I and on myself, then we'll not be going anywhere.
That's very true, because the Adamic nature is very selfish. It is me, myself, and I.
Personal.
And that's why you find not many people will accept a mistake, and that brings a point whereby it becomes difficult even for a husband to correct the wife and the wife to correct the husband, because it seems like you are focusing on my weakness, you're not focusing on your weakness. And that's why you find most of the couples, they are not able to correct one another freely, because anytime you bring that element of my wife, my husband, there's this thing I was thinking you need to adjust, it brings such a tension. And they begin to tell you, hey, unaanza kuniambia wewe una weakness, wewe ukumbuki hata another day, and they begin to remind you about your past. And so they put fear in you, and you're like, wacha kai vile anataka. So you find that weakness that was supposed to be corrected by your wife and by your husband escalates until it is seen at the place of work, it is seen in the church, and every person who meets you knows that you have a problem. But this problem would have been solved, or this weakness would have been solved by your partner, the way Berry has said, if you allowed yourself to be vulnerable and allowed the other person to come in, because you can't be perfect, you can't be ati mambo yako yote ni mzuri. There must be a weakness that you are in, and that's why a husband and a wife must know that they have come together to complement each other. Complementation means there is what you are strong in and me I'm weak, but we bring together synergy so that we can make this marriage move. So that has really brought a lot of challenge.
Ma'am, on that thing of compliment,
yes.
You see, people always think that we compliment each other so much because he loves movies, I love movies. I love Omena, he also loves Omena. That's not compliment. I think to compliment is whereby what I don't like, you like it. That's the opposite. Now that's now we have like the we fit in. Whereby I don't like Omena and you love Managu, you begin teaching me how to love Managu and teach how to love Omena. Then we meet at a center. That's now compliment.
Just like I had given an example, I struggled with the spirit of anger. My husband didn't have it, but he was able to win me to his side. You get that? So he was able to compliment and teach me now to stand on my own and how to deal with the spirit of anger, and showing me the side effect of all these things that I've held for so many years before he came to marry me. So that is what we call complementation. Like for example, I'm so talkative, my husband is not talkative. At least we have someone who can listen, another one who is talking, so that there is no boredom in the house. That is complementation.
Imagine all of you are
another
silent.
one makes the bed, another one does not.
All of you are talkative.
Yeah, another one makes the bed, another one does not make the bed. So if both of you know how to make bed, we'll be arguing. This bed sheet imeenda hivi, ungepull hivi, but so that's why you find when one person is struggling with one issue, it becomes very easy to complement, to blend.
Like me until now, I have never understood why you always make beds in the morning, because you will come back on it in the evening. Why do we against you? Yunda ni kama ni mpya. There's nobody coming in that room to check it. It's hidden place. But lazima yunda sijui kunje. She takes anambia all this effort.
You see now, you'll be coming back in the evening.
I don't see the need of, but here ndaka I decorate, aweke pillow wapi. I don't see the sense. Yeah. So suppose I met a lady who was like me. How will our bedroom be looking like?
Oh my goodness.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Complementation means you are directly opposite of each other. And those are the marriages that thrive. You get the point, But when both of you are strong in an area, you will never appreciate one another because we are both strong. You get that, That's why you find when you are extreme opposite of one another, that marriage stays together. And you, when you go to them, you're like, how do these people stay? Huyu ako hivi ni mchafu, huyu ni msafi. You get huyu anaongea, huyu aongei. You get that? Like I see our marriage is opposite of each other. As we are extremely opposite of each other. And I think that's what makes us blend so well with Pastor Monene. Because what is good in me, I extremely score negative.
You struggle
negative. And what I'm strong in, my husband is very weak in that. So it becomes very easy for us to appreciate one another, for us to accommodate each other, because we know my husband knows my strength and I also know his strength. And now because of the years that we have gone, there are things I can't do until I get his word. Because his word is final. I know in this area I'm not very good. But when he comes, he will just speak one word. And I'm able to, my eyes are opened to see something that was an opportunity that I would have lost, and vice versa. So when we talk about complementation, we are talking of things that are opposite each other, but you people, you have a ground where you come together and you agree this is the way forward. Yes.
Maybe just to add to, before Mom mentions the phases of marriage, in the difficult phase is the most important phase. That is where your faith will be birthed. That's where you will begin to grow a stronger bond. Like me, there is a bond we have with my husband that I'm sure no man can break. You know why? Because we've had phases where we had to go through a season of building that bond. And those seasons, sometimes, most of them are not desirable, you see? But you have to reach a point whereby you know marriage is bigger than both of you.
Wow.
Marriage is bigger than your weaknesses. Marriage is bigger than even your self-ambitions. You have to stop your ambition and say, wait a minute, darling, this is marriage we're handling here. You could be having a challenge, I could be having a challenge. How do we move forward?
Oh, yes.
And that thing can only come from a point of wholeness. If you are empty, you are drained, you are stressed, you will be anxious over everything, everybody coming to your space feeling they are drained as well.
Oh, yes.
They go, you fight your relatives, you become a pain to your partner. But if you are a person who is full, your partner will find a way of growing along with you, because marriage is definitely growth.
Oh, yes.
It is just growth. It's like when I say taking up your cross every day.
Yes.
Taking up your cross, then you are carrying your cross until the end of life, till eternity.
It's like salvation, eh?
Yes. This is your partner, this is your soulmate. You have to look at them even if you don't feel like loving them at the moment and say, I don't have much love for this person. But you know what? Marriage is bigger than us. And the spirit man, now you go to the spirit man. What does my spirit man have for our relationship at this time? Because my mind is off. I can't handle this mentally. But you go to your spirit, you find solutions.
Wow.
We need God in that phase.
Very true.
We need books, pro-marriage books.
Knowledge.
We need positive friends. Because if you have network of people who tells you, wababa ni hivi, achana na huyo ama wanaume ni hivi. You are in a difficult season, you need positive energy. Yeah.